Two neighbors, same street, same zip code, both making $65,000 a year. 10 years later, one of them owns two rental properties, has $180,000 sitting in investments, and just paid cash for a car. The other one? Still living paycheck to paycheck. Still wondering where all the money went. Same income, same opportunities, completely different outcomes. Now here is the question nobody asks. Why? Most people chalk it up to luck. Oh, they must have gotten an inheritance. They probably had connections. Things were just easier for them. But what if I told you it had nothing to do with luck? What if the real difference was something much quieter? Habits so subtle, so deeply woven into daily life that most people completely overlook them. There is a reason Chinese communities around the world, from immigrants who arrived with almost nothing, consistently build multi-generational wealth. And it is not a secret. It is not a cheat code. It is a philosophy. A set of principles passed down not in classrooms, but in kitchens, in small conversations, and in how families quietly move through money together. Today, we are breaking down 10 of those habits. And by the end of this video, you will understand why some people seem to quietly get ahead while everyone else stays stuck. If this sounds like something you need to hear, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We drop new videos every week on money psychology, wealth building, and the kind of financial education nobody taught us in school. My name is Ella, and welcome to Ella Invest. Habit number 1. Eat bitterness first. There is a Chinese phrase that literally means eat bitterness. It describes the ability to endure hardship now so you can enjoy something better later. In money terms, it means choosing the uncomfortable option on purpose, taking the second job even when you are tired, living in the smaller apartment when you could technically afford the bigger one, skipping the vacation this year to fund the investment account instead. Americans are sold the idea that discomfort means something is wrong. But wealthy Chinese families teach their children the opposite. They teach that choosing short-term sacrifice is actually a power move, not a punishment. Every single time you eat bitterness, you are buying your future self more options. And options are what wealthy people actually have that broke people do not. Habit number 2. They save before they spend. Most Americans do this completely backward. They earn money, they spend it on everything they need and want, and then if anything is left, they call it savings. But here is the brutal truth. There is almost never anything left. Chinese wealth culture flips this completely. The savings come out first, before the grocery run, before dinner out, before the streaming subscriptions. The moment money comes in, a portion immediately leaves for savings or investment. The rest is what you live on. Financial psychologists call this paying yourself first. And it works because it removes the decision entirely. You do not have to summon willpower every single month. The system does it automatically. When saving is optional, it never happens. When it is non-negotiable, it always does. Habit number 3. They have a real value filter. Here's something interesting about how Chinese families shop. They are not impressed by price tags. They are obsessed with value per dollar. There is a cultural understanding that expensive does not mean good, and cheap does not always mean smart. The question is always, what am I actually getting for this money? A $400 jacket that lasts 12 years works out to about $33 a year. That is smart. A $60 jacket you replace every single season works out to $240 a year. That is actually foolish. This is called cost per use thinking. And once you start thinking this way, it completely rewires how you see every single purchase. Luxury brands survive because they sell status. Wealthy Chinese families are often completely indifferent to status symbols because they are too busy actually building wealth to spend money performing it for other people. Habit number 4. They treat the family like a business. In many Chinese households, money is not a private individual thing. It is a family thing. Kids grow up understanding the family's financial goals. Parents discuss income, savings targets, and investments openly. There is a collective mindset. We are building something together. rather than every person quietly struggling for themselves. This creates powerful financial leverage. When a family member wants to start a business, the family pools resources. When someone needs to buy property, the family contributes. When someone faces hardship, nobody drowns alone. Compare that to the average American approach, where money is almost taboo to discuss, even with your own spouse, and every person quietly suffers in isolation. The family as a financial unit is genuinely one of the most underrated wealth-building tools that exists in the world today. Habit number 5. They worship the emergency fund. Chinese grandmothers have a saying that translates roughly to, when the sky is clear, prepare for the storm. Emergency funds are not exciting. They do not grow fast. They just sit there, and most Americans treat them as optional. But here is what most people do not understand about emergencies. They do not just cost money, they force decisions. And decisions made from desperation are almost always financially destructive. A car breaks down. You do not have savings. You put it on a credit card at 24% interest. Now you are paying for that repair for the next 2 years. Chinese wealth culture treats the emergency fund as sacred. It is not just savings. It is armor. And armor only works if you build it before the fight, not during it. Habit number 6. They are deeply suspicious of debt. There is a very old Chinese proverb that says, "Debt is like a tiger. Once you let it in the house, it is very hard to get out." This is not a culture that celebrates financing. There is no treat yourself. You deserve it. Pay later mentality baked in. Debt is viewed with real suspicion, sometimes even shame, not because of judgment, but because of understanding. Chinese immigrant families who arrived in America with almost nothing often refused to buy on credit. They saved until they could pay cash. They went without until the money was real. And while the rest of us were upgrading our lifestyles on credit cards, those families were quietly accumulating assets. Here is the math on debt. A $5,000 credit card balance at 22% interest, paying only the minimum each month, means you will pay almost $10,000 total and still be paying it off in 30 years. Debt does not feel heavy on day one. That is exactly the trap. Habit number 7. They invest in skills like it is the stock market. Here is one that most people completely miss. Chinese culture has a deep, almost obsessive respect for education and skill building, not just for prestige, but because of a very simple economic truth. Your skills are an asset that no market crash can ever take away from you. When a Chinese parent pushes their child to study, learn a trade, become excellent at something, it is not about bragging rights. It is about building an income-generating machine inside that child that will compound for decades. This same logic applies to adults. The $200 course that helps you earn a $15,000 raise, that is a return of over 7,000%. No stock in history consistently beats that. Investing in yourself is often the single highest return investment available to you, but most people do not treat it like an investment at all. Habit number 8. They own things instead of renting a lifestyle. There is a fascinating pattern in Chinese American wealth accumulation. Families that arrived with almost nothing would often live very modestly. Small homes, used cars, home-cooked meals, while quietly buying property, investing in small businesses, and acquiring assets on the side. The goal was never to look wealthy. The goal was to become wealthy. This is the complete opposite of what consumer culture teaches. We are told to upgrade constantly. Bigger home, newer car, nicer things, as a reward for working hard. But every single upgrade is a liability dressed up as a reward. Assets put money in your pocket. Lifestyle expenses take money out. Chinese wealth builders instinctively choose assets. The wealth shows up quietly, in bank accounts and property portfolios, not in driveways and closets. Habit number 9. They understand that luck is just prepared opportunity. When something good happens to a Chinese family, a business takes off, an investment pays out, a deal comes through, outsiders always say they got lucky. But if you look closely at what happened before the luck, you will almost always find years of quiet preparation. Money saved. Relationships built. Skills developed. Options kept open. There is a concept in Chinese thought that means something close to the right moment. But the idea is not that the moment just arrives. The idea is that you prepare so completely that when the moment finally comes, you are the only one ready to seize it. Luck is not random. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, and most people are never truly prepared when opportunity shows up at their door. Habit number 10. They play a long game nobody else is playing, and this is the one that ties everything together. Chinese wealth culture is generational. The goal is not just to retire comfortably. The goal is to build something that outlasts you. That changes every single financial decision you make. When you are thinking 10, 20, 30 years ahead, you do not blow your bonus on a vacation. You invest it. You do not cash out the retirement account early. You let it compound. You do not teach your kids that money is scary and confusing. You teach them exactly how it works. The average American financial plan is roughly this: earn, spend, and hope that Social Security covers the rest. The Chinese generational wealth plan is this: earn, save aggressively, invest wisely, live below your means, teach the next generation everything you know, and build something that keeps growing long after you are gone. One of these plans builds a legacy. The other one builds a paycheck cycle. None of these habits require a high income. None of them require being born into wealth. None of them are complicated. What they require is a shift in how you think about money, from something you earn and spend to something you build and grow. The Chinese families who quietly became wealthy were not luckier than you. They were just playing a completely different game. And now you know the rules. If this video made you think differently about money, share it with one person who needs to hear it. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe to Ella Invest. We drop new content every week that breaks down wealth psychology and investing in a way that actually makes sense. I am Ella. Stay smart with your money, and I will see you in the next one.